It's all fake news.
I called the fake news the enemy of the people, and they are. They are the enemy of the people.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
go ahead.
Fake news, the enemy of the people. The fake news. They dropped off the word fake.
Fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news.
The FCC must unequivocally stand up for the First Amendment, and the chairman needs to strongly disavow the president's unfounded attack.
The First Amendment of the Constitution protects rights that include the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of press, the right to assemble, and the right to petition. Reuters, the news and media division of Thomson Reuters, is the world's largest international multimedia news provider, reaching more than 1 billion people every day. CEO of Reuters, Steve Adler, sent out a memo after the election saying that even though it has been hard for the media, Reuters has to report the news the same way they have and not be biased.
People seem to feel that it's okay to yell things at journalists and to, harass them as they're doing their jobs more than in the past.
The media has been under a lot of scrutiny recently. Some people speculate that it has something to do with this presidency, or it started with fake news, or even that it has been brewing for a while.
I feel like it's just a climate in the culture right now that's been going on a lot longer than this presidency. But there's been a slow erosion of faith in the institutions that provide information to people. And so by doing that, what happens is people just don't believe anything.
It's been a problem for a while, but I think it's getting worse because there's more sources of news. There's so much on the internet, and people don't know how to tell the difference between what's real and what isn't. And they don't know how to tell the difference between what's opinion and what's fact. That's something that's been an ongoing problem, but I think it's getting worse.
Covering the inauguration, and a lot of people say, hey, when I would ask them to interview them on the streets, they would say, you're fake news, you're the media, you guys put out fake news. And I'd have to say, well, listen, I'm asking you to speak to you, to hear your opinion so we can present as balanced and accurate a story as possible.
I feel there's certainly more pressure on the media, more criticism, more distrust of the media.
Trying to raise the public opinion of the media may be harder than you think.
The function of journalism, going back to its beginning, was always to challenge status quo. Not necessarily being liberal or conservative, but just challenging the facts, challenging the perceptions, challenging authority, as long as there's been journalism. And so I think that there's always stakeholders that don't like that or that would try to circumvent that.
To have as many views represented and presented in stories, we have to talk to people, and if they're not willing to sort of give us a chance to speak and share their views, then there's not much we can do. We can just keep trying.
I think when people's minds are closed, that there's not very much you can do. They have to be willing to listen before you can tell them anything.
When it comes to building trust, it takes a really long time. And so for audiences or for readers or for just the public to regain trust in the media and in journalism, I think it may take longer than the duration of this presidency, even if it ends up being 8 years long.
The spread of fake news is mostly bad, but it has its benefits. The media now will be more cautious and even try to do a better job with truthfulness in the future.
I think, there's more emphasis and more pressure on the media to be accurate and to be unbiased. So it's probably a good thing for us, because there was a time when Twitter started and people were rushing to put put out stories and weren't always fact-checking everything. So I think it's good for us to get this sort of wake-up call.
If we're doing our jobs right, we're always double or triple checking every fact. You don't take anything for granted if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. I think the industry had a habit of getting a bit lazy over a number of decades, where you could take for granted that when you got a piece of information from somewhere, from a certain source or something like that, that it was fact-based or that it was at least verifiable in some way. But anymore now, you do have to be that much more vigilant. So I feel like if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, no, it's not changed things, but in reality, most likely it has, because it means that we have to be that much more actively paying attention to everything.
Every time Trump says,
They are the enemy of the people.
it may seem harmless, but what he is actually doing is taking away the media's power and making people believe all news is fake. This hurts the media's ability to report the news, and it hurts the freedom of the press.